Hey everyone, it's Morgan Adsit, and it is report card time after the Ravens finally get in the win column in Week 3. Made it interesting, 28-25 over Dallas. Bringing in now Mike Preston from the Baltimore Sun. And Mike, let's start at the top. Obviously, King Henry, you brought him here for a reason. And finally, in Week 3, the Ravens do what needs to be done: give Derrik Henry the ball.
Yeah, I think he, what do you have, like 151 yards with 25 carries? And he kind of sealed the deal with him and Lamar. And it played a major part because you have the inside threat with Derrik Henry, you have the outside threat with Lamar, but they complemented each other very well. So it was major for the offense to get this thing kind of in gear and going. And the offensive line actually played pretty well as well. But defensively, they got some problems, but they won. They're not 0-3. We're not talking about that for the next week, so we move on. But he definitely gets an A. I mean, and without him, they're in trouble. But he played well.
And in turn with him, with Lamar Jackson, obviously that threat with him in the run game. And you mentioned the offensive line. Where are you lumping Jackson's play and the entire offensive line doing everything kind of behind Henry, which was nice?
Well, the offensive line, I mean, and they've been much maligned, and we've all criticized them, but they played a pretty good game. And, you know, John Harbaugh had hinted there might be changes before during the course of the week and before this game. Came out with the same lineup. They played well. McCary, Ronnie Stanley both hooked the guys on the corner, gave Lamar a chance to get outside. You had the inside presence where they just pounded him away, just straight up the gut. And, you know, and when you can beat a team like that, where you can run directly at them, then you're going to win a lot of football games. And they just kind of wore them down. So they got a B+, and I thought they played extremely well. And we didn't have the pressure as far as rushing the quarterback, where Lamar kind of turned into a game manager, but we'll get into him a little later.
Give me Lamar right now. What do you have for him?
Well, I gave him a B because basically he turned into a game manager. And that's what you want. You know, usually when you associate that term with the quarterback, you think, oh, they lost, they don't have much experience, but they were very conservative in their game plan, and they could have been because they ran the ball so well. So at the end, he made the plays that won the game, especially the first down run late in the fourth quarter. But he didn't have to make tight throws in the tight windows. He basically played within himself, and that's what you really want, because that means your running game's effective. That means your passing game is complementary, and that's why they got to be. I mean, he got to be.
Let's flip the script on the other side of the ball with the defense. I know this is loaded, but the whole entire team almost blows a 26 fourth quarter lead. That's not great all around, but sticking with the defense, the Ravens entered this game as the worst pass defense. A lot of that falls on the secondary, but also the linebacker group with the middle of the field. So breakdown on defense for me, the linebackers and secondary kind of hand in hand in the grades that you had for both of those units.
Well, you know, I thought the linebackers played well, where Calvin, they get the pressure. And that was a major question coming into the season, is can they get pressure on the quarterback? Well, they've kind of answered that in the first 3 games where it's done. I thought Roquan Smith played perhaps the best game of the season. He had 11 tackles, but I thought he was a little sluggish in the first 2 games. I thought you see him stepping up in this game, but that secondary, I mean, you give up 2 field goals and a touchdown in the final 12 minutes against the Raiders. And then you come back and you give up 19 points against this team, which is one-dimensional. I mean, they don't have any running backs. They don't have a running game. So you know you shut all of that down, and usually that's when you take over games. It's because they're one-dimensional, and they still couldn't do it. And there were times they were giving up these touchdown passes. And you could see Roquan looking over at Marlon Humphrey, and they're staring at each other like, what is going on here? And they had the worst pass defense going into this game. They still got to be there at the end, because I think they gave up like 426 yards of total offense. They got some work to do. And I figured after the first game, you'd let coordinator Zach Orr go a little bit because it's his first game. It's Andy Reid, Kansas City. But then you go to the second game and you say, oh, I don't know, let's watch this a little closer. But then when you watch this game and you say, wait a minute, they even got an onside kick, which they're obligated to tell you they're going to kick the ball, and then you still give up another touchdown. I think we're going to be snooping around a little bit more this week on that one. So we'll see.
Is this a D for the secondary? Is this worse?
I gave them like a C minus
Okay.
because I thought in the first 3 quarters of the game they played very well. I thought Kyle Hamilton actually came up and made some tackles. But what I saw in that fourth period, I saw last week against the Raiders, where they started to melt down a little bit, where they got tired, they couldn't make tackles, and they were out on the field a lot. And I don't know, that's the scary part of it. And we'll talk about Justin Tucker a little bit, where he missed the field goal. And they're going to be asking again this week, is Father Time caught up with Justin? Because he's been in the league, 10 years, 12 years, something like that. Little strange. And then you can't recover the onside kick. But overall, they won. And coaching, I gave him a C plus. I thought Monkey caught a good game. Stayed within the conservative approach. Didn't let Lamar try to throw the ball all over the place. But defensively, I don't know. I think John Harbaugh has to be scratching his head a little bit and saying, did I make the right call? I would be, I would be second guessing some things, and that's where they're at. They won, and that's major because you want to win and you want to get in the win column, especially with Buffalo coming to town Sunday night. But overall, Buffalo has a running game. We got some decent players on the outside, and Dallas is one-dimensional, and you still couldn't stop them. Questions this week.
Well, let's wrap it up. What you kind of already tiptoed in a little bit with special teams. It's always the part of the game that you don't talk about unless there's something bad to talk about. Justin Tucker misses a field goal inside 50. Now, that is extremely rare. He's had his 50-plus issues dating back to last season. And then the onside kick botch with Zay Flowers, that puts Dallas right in the game. They recover that onside kick. No issues. I don't think this game even gets to the point that it does. And then you miss a crucial field goal that ends up being a 3-point game. Thankfully, Dallas wasn't able to go down and tie it. But where are you on special teams and their grade after week 3?
I think I gave them a C. But overall, we saw this last year where they couldn't get their special teams right. They couldn't decide if they wanted to return a punt, return a kickoff. They kind of stumbled a little bit. And you saw Stout last week with the 27-yard punt, which gave the Raiders great field position. So maybe they're slow starters, and maybe because they don't play their starters in the preseason, and that's part of it. I don't know, but there's some questions there, and you got to look at that, and they have to address it. They get a week to do it, but Buffalo's going to be a better test than Dallas. I thought Dallas came in this game and proved that they were pretenders. They're not serious contenders, but still to come this within striking distance of the Ravens at the end of this game, it's not good for the Ravens.
All right, Mike Preston, as always, thank you so much for your grades and report card on Sunday. We will chat with you next time. Mike Preston, Baltimore Sun. Thank you.
See you.